Okay, so have you ever had to, you know, slam on your brakes because there's an animal crossing the road, or noticed that there's people out there that have a lot of pets in their homes, or ever been chased by a stray dog? I have. According to PETA, there are approximately, spaying and neutering is routine, affordable surgeries that can prevent thousands of animals from being born only to suffer and struggle to survive on the streets, be abused by cruel and neglectful people, and be euthanized in shelters because of the lack of finding homes for them. Okay, so a lot of you may be wondering what spaying and neutering is. Spaying is what they do on females, which I mean, there's various type of them. Neutering is for males, and they remove their testes. So my proposition is that it's the most humane thing to do to prevent overpopulation, and it involves procedure, and some may be wondering about the cost of the procedure, and there are some benefits to getting your animal spayed and neutered. Okay, so overpopulation, let's see, some people think that adoption and shelters are not impossible, but in reality it can be a lot more difficult for people to find homes, and shelters aren't always the best. Some people don't always see it as an issue because they get most of their animals from pet stores, and pet stores don't exactly take in animals from shelters. They do it through breeding or anything like that. A lot of people like to blame vets for overpopulation because it's not affordable, meaning all these animals they reproduce a lot. My view is that there are just way too many animals and not enough homes. There are approximately 2.7 million euthanized animals each year that come from the shelter. 6 to 8 million homeless animals every year, which is actually very sad. Commitment. There are just people that don't commit to taking care of their dogs, meaning they just don't care for them as much as they should, meaning they end up letting their dogs go because they don't want to care for them anymore. And then that's when they wander off and start to reproduce more and more. A lot of people don't realize that overpopulation affects our health as human beings because they're not being cared for. So that means that there are diseases out there, and people don't want to catch diseases. Rabies, it's not a good idea. And so from some experience, I have a dog of my own, and she is not fixed, and she just recently had 10 puppies, and it has been very difficult to get rid of them, and that is why overpopulation is terrible. It's super hard to find homes. There are many different types of procedures that can be done, one of them being a hysterectomy, which is removing the uterus and parts of the fallopian tubes from a female, which makes her unable to produce, but the ovaries are still there producing hormones. There's a vasectomy, which is removing the testes of a male. Or there's an ovaryectomy, which is just removing the ovaries of a female. Some people think that it's very painful for dogs, that it's cruel that they get it done just because it's harming an animal, which is really not. My view is that it's pain-free because they get put under anesthesia, which prevents the pain. It's a necessary thing for animals to do, or to do for animals, as it prevents overpopulation and all those other details. And not many people realize that it's a lot more advanced now than it was many years ago. Some benefits. So people don't realize that they don't really have the necessary information. They like to believe what Google says or any other websites. They don't actually look into it themselves. But some facts from Pets MD. Female pets will live longer, healthier life. Neutering provides major health benefits for your male. Your spayed female won't go into heat. Your male dog won't want to roam away from home. They'll be better behaved. It will not make your pet fat. It is highly cost effective. It's good for the community. And another ridiculous one. Your pet doesn't need to have a litter for your children to learn about the miracle of birth, and it helps fight pet overpopulation. So a lot of those facts are pretty true, but in my view, I see little to no benefits. Fixing them just pretty much prevents overpopulation. There's a lot of those other things I've experienced, my animals gaining weight and being aggressive. As for the cost of the procedure, some people think it's cheap, but I think that just depends on those that think of money as not a big deal. I think that it's expensive, and the average cost of it is $150 to $300. But in my area, there's vets that offer the free spay and neuter, which I highly suggest people to take advantage of. Excuse me. So, as I've stated, overpopulation is a big deal. The procedure and cost, many people have their opinions on that. There are some benefits. And so, as I've stated, it is the most humane thing to do if you want to if you don't want to see animals roam freely or homeless and not have a proper home where they need to be cared for. There was a lot to consider. So as Bob Barker said, help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed and neutered.